Under the Apple Tree is a pretty interesting film. The animation is stunning, but the pacing is really slow. This was released in 2015. It's written and directed by Erik Schaaik. I apologize if I've mispronounced that. And it stars the voices of Claire King and Tim Gunther. And the concept is so fun. Basically, without going into too much spoiler detail, a farmer dies and he is buried, and some worms take over his corpse. The worms are not interesting, and I don't care for them as characters. They look absolutely fine, but I was more interested in seeing this corpse. And unfortunately, because we are underground, up close with the worms for most of it, we don't really get a decent look at the corpse. We do eventually, but it's so slow. And I feel like they should have got to that point within the first, certainly within the first 10 minutes, but I'd say within the first 5, 6 minutes. And then the rest of the 20-ish minute film could have been about this corpse and what happened after the worms took control of it. That would have been so much better, visually so much more interesting, and it would have just been a more fun narrative. The worms were okay to begin with, but I found them to be very boring characters. I don't really care about worms that much. As I said, they look fine, but when you watch an animation about worms taking over a corpse, you're watching it because that's a fun concept and I want to see the visuals. And we don't really get to have a proper look at it. We spend much time up close with the worms and they're just not interesting. So it's not an amazing film, but it had a lot of potential. But it's okay. I didn't mind watching it, but I can see a lot of room for improvement. And all of the room for improvement is with the pacing of the narrative because we spend far too much time right in the worms' faces and they're not interesting characters. I don't think anybody's watching this because they want to see worms up close. I think they're watching it because it's a fascinating concept that could be gruesome and a little bit disturbing, and we get to see hardly any of that. So, unfortunately, I didn't love it, but if it sounds like your kind of animation, I'd say it's still worth checking out. It's only 20 minutes, as I said, so it's not tremendously long, but I feel like we could have removed a good 10 minutes of it and not lost anything. And we could have taken that 10 minutes and had a lot of fun with what the worms did with this corpse. So, significant room for improvement, but it is beautifully animated and it is a fun idea. And the good bits are really good. When we do get to see things that are quite gory and gruesome, it's fabulous. So, a lot of great aspects, a lot of potential, a lot of room for improvement. But if it sounds like it would appeal to you, then Under the Apple Tree is one that I'd say is still worth checking out.